Hi, everyone, and welcome back. We're going to dive into something today that's honestly, a little unsettling. We're talking about targeted ads, but not the usual kind. Like, we want to dig into how these ads might be aimed at kids.
Yeah.
And to help us with this, kind of navigate this digital minefield, we have our expert with us.
Yeah, it's definitely something that I think warrants a closer look, especially the ethical implications, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, to jump right into it, there's this new information from the Financial Times about Google and Meta, and they've been apparently caught collaborating on something called Meta IG Connects.
Right.
Can you give us the rundown on what that even means?
Sure. Meta IG Connects, at least according to this report, seems to be a program that's designed to steer teenagers on YouTube over to Instagram.
Okay.
Basically, it's alleged that Google and Meta work together to target these young YouTube users with ads that are specifically geared towards pushing them towards Instagram.
So using one platform they own, YouTube, to basically funnel kids to another one, Instagram. And that's all based on this targeted advertising.
That's right. That's the allegation.
Okay.
What's even more concerning is how they allegedly pulled this off. The report claims that they categorize certain users as, quote, unknown to kind of sidestep Google's own policies on advertising to minors.
Wait, unknown. So they're saying that they don't know the ages of these users, but they're still targeting them with ads.
It seems that way.
Okay, that's pretty shady.
It is. And it highlights the potential harm in targeting a young and very impressionable audience with this kind of personalized advertising, especially without their knowledge or consent. You know, it's essentially manipulating the digital experiences of minors for profit.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder, like, if companies like Google and Meta are finding ways around these rules, like, how effective are any of the regulations that are supposed to protect kids online?
Yeah, that's the big question here. This situation really exposes the loopholes that might exist in the systems that are designed to protect children's privacy in the digital world.
It's like they're playing this game of cat and mouse, except the mice are kids just trying to watch a video.
Exactly, and we have to remember that children are still developing their critical thinking skills. They're much more susceptible to these persuasive techniques, and this kind of targeted advertising can really exploit that vulnerability.
And it's not just a few random ads. We're talking about like a constant barrage of this carefully curated content that's designed to influence their behavior.
Right, and to really understand the potential impact here, I think we need to look at how these platforms are designed.
Okay.
You know, YouTube's algorithm combined with the power of personalized ads creates a feedback loop that can be especially influential during a child's developmental years.
Especially when you consider how effective these ads can be.
Right.
This source cites a study that found that 53% of U.S. children remember ads on YouTube better than on other platforms.
Wow.
Which is honestly a pretty disturbing statistic, but not entirely surprising given how much time kids spend online these days.
It is concerning. And this, this stickiness, it's no accident. They might use, data points like videos watched, search history, even the time spent like hovering over an ad to create a profile and target those deemed most susceptible, in this case, children.
So it's not just that kids are seeing more ads, it's that these ads are incredibly effective at getting their attention.
Right.
And like sticking with them long after they've closed the app.
Absolutely.
Which is kind of terrifying.
Yeah, what's especially worrisome is that we're talking about a generation that's growing up immersed in this technology. And the potential long-term consequences of this kind of exposure to manipulative advertising on their developing minds is something that we really need to consider seriously.
Absolutely. This isn't just about kids being shown too many toys or games. It's about how these tactics could be shaping their values, their understanding of the world, their very sense of self.
You've hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
And it raises serious questions about the responsibility of these tech giants.
Right.
Are they truly prioritizing the well-being of their youngest users? Or are profits taking precedence?
Yeah, it's a question we definitely need to be asking, especially when we see these allegations of companies actively trying to circumvent their own rules about advertising to kids.
Exactly. Yeah, it's definitely a complex issue, right? There's no easy answers.
Right.
But I think what's clear is that we need to be having these conversations, more conversations about these practices and what the potential consequences are.
Definitely. And I think for a lot of parents, especially those who maybe didn't grow up with this level of technology,
Right.
it can feel overwhelming. Like, where do you even begin to like address something like this?
You're absolutely right. It can be really daunting.
Right.
But I think the first step is awareness.
Okay.
You know, the more that parents understand about how these platforms work, the better equipped they'll be to guide their children's online experiences.
So it's about empowering parents with the right information and tools. But what about like the companies themselves?
Yeah.
What role do they play in all of this?
Well, they have a huge responsibility. I mean, there's no doubt about it.
Right.
We need to see more transparency from these tech giants. They need to be upfront about how their algorithms work, how data is being collected and used, and what steps they're taking to actually protect young users.
Yeah. It feels like there's a real lack of transparency right now.
Yeah.
It's almost as if they're intentionally making it difficult for users to understand what's going on, like behind the scenes.
And that's why we need, stronger regulations.
Okay.
The current guidelines, in many cases, they're just not enough. We need to close those loopholes that allow companies to target children with these manipulative advertising techniques, and we need to hold them accountable when those lines are crossed.
So tougher laws, more oversight. But that's going to take time, right?
It will.
What can parents do right now to, like, in the meantime, to protect their kids?
Well, there are definitely things that parents can do.
Okay.
One of the most powerful is simply talking to their kids about online advertising.
Right.
Help them understand that not everything that they see online is true.
Right.
Or even healthy for them.
It's like teaching them like media literacy, but for the digital age.
Exactly. And part of that is teaching them how to spot manipulative content. Explain how some ads might use their favorite YouTubers to kind of subtly endorse products, or how they might leverage a child's fear of missing out to pressure them into making a purchase.
That's a really good point, because kids often don't realize that what they're watching isn't always like genuine, that there might be like a commercial agenda behind it.
Right. And beyond education, setting boundaries is key.
Yep.
Limit their screen time, use those parental controls, and perhaps most importantly, encourage them to engage in activities that foster critical thinking and creativity offline.
So it's not just about like limiting their exposure to these ads, it's about giving them the tools they need to think critically about what they're seeing and experiencing online.
Precisely. It's about raising a generation that's not only tech savvy,
Right.
but also media literate and discerning consumers of digital content.
It's almost like we have to be the filter until there are like better systems in place to actually protect kids.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
But it's not just on parents, right?
Right.
It needs to be like a collective effort here.
Yeah.
Policymakers, educators, tech companies, like everyone has a role to play in creating a safer and more ethical digital environment for children.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. This whole Meta IG Connects thing, it really does feel like the tip of the iceberg here. It makes you wonder what other tactics are being used that we don't even know about.
Absolutely, and that's the key takeaway here, right?
Yeah.
It's about being vigilant, asking these tough questions, and demanding better from the companies that hold so much power
Right.
in our lives and in the lives of our children.
It's about like taking back control, really, not letting ourselves or our kids be manipulated by these algorithms and hidden agendas.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It's about empowering ourselves and our kids to be, informed, critical consumers of the digital world.
Well said. You've given us a lot to think about today. Thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure.
And to you listening, thanks for diving in with us. We'll be back next time with another fascinating deep dive. Until then, stay curious.